almost 14 years of experience into performance testing, and I have worked on different tools like JMeter, LoadRunner, NewLoad, and application performance monitoring tools like Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Datadog. Okay, so I have vast experience on performance testing. Along with that, I have delivered multiple trainings to different people. I'm associated with Isha Training Solutions for a long time now and have delivered multiple batches. And these sessions have really helped the trainees who have attended, to means whoever is in the field of performance testing and is not aware of JMeter, they have benefited from it. Whoever is not into the field of performance testing and want to jump into it, they have also benefited a lot. Okay, so that is a brief introduction about myself. So coming to the sessions, guys, a few ground rules. I'll request you all to be on mute during the sessions, because as I have already told, the sessions are going to be recorded. Each and every session will be recorded. You will be having the lifetime access to the recorded videos. Okay, the documents, the training materials will be shared. Whatever is demonstrated during the training, they will be shared with you all. So whenever you have any query, please unmute yourself and ask your query then and there itself. In minute query also, I encourage you all to please ask your queries. Any queries, anyone, until now? Any queries, anyone? Okay, so now as part of this demo today, we are first going to see the course curriculum, like what all are the topics, right? I have told, like, these all are the things which I'm going to cover, but let us first of all go through the course curriculum, which will help you understanding in details, like what are the topics which will be covered as part of this training. Okay, and then we are going to start with our topic. Clear, all of you? So let me start sharing my screen. I hope my screen should be visible to all of you. If any one of you can unmute yourself and kindly confirm.
Yes, visible, sir.
Perfect.
Visible.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. So the name of the training is, guys, JMeter Beginner to Master with Groovy, Dynatrace, Kubernetes, Docker, InfluxDB, Grafana, Jenkins, and BlazeMeter. This link is already shared. This in the WhatsApp group. You can go through the link to understand more about the training. We have so many different sections on the link, right? So let us first of all go through the course content, guys. Okay, so as part of this training, we are going to cover, so this course curriculum is also present on the website, guys. Okay, the course curriculum is present on this website as well. You can clearly go through that. Okay, so I want to basically cover it over here. So first we are going to understand, we are going to learn about performance testing and JMeter introduction, guys. Okay, so first of all, I want to brush up your performance testing knowledge. Okay, everyone would have performance testing knowledge, or some might be completely new. So that will also help them, guys. So that is why, without directly jumping to JMeter, I'm going to explain you about performance testing in brief though. Okay, and already our institution has already shared the performance testing videos also with you all for prior understanding, which is immense helpful. Okay, so first we are going to see the performance testing introduction. What is performance testing, why performance testing is required, or why performance is required, right? And what are the different types of performance tests. Then we are going to see the performance testing life cycle. So every phase in software development, right? Every phase in software development, or every activity in the software development, they have a life cycle. So similarly, in performance testing, we also have a life cycle. So I'm going to discuss with you what are the different phases of performance testing life cycle. What all are the activities which are going to be carried out in details in those phases. What is the entry criteria? What is the exit criteria for each of the phase? And everything is not smooth, guys, right? So every phase of performance testing has some challenges. So I'm going to discuss some of the common challenges in each of the phases. Then we jump to JMeter. So what is the history of JMeter? What are the different protocols? So what is protocol and all? I think you all must be aware. If not, I'll be covering that during this session as well. So what are the different protocols which are supported by JMeter? What are the different features of JMeter, right? So JMeter is a performance testing tool. So it should be having some features, some functionalities because of which it is so popular, right? So, and because of which you all want to learn that as well. So I'm going to explain the different features. Now, after knowing the features, you definitely want to use JMeter. But before using JMeter, there are some prerequisites which should be met. So we are going to discuss about the prerequisites, guys. So like the Java installation. Okay, so just to let you know that JMeter is based on Java programming language. Okay, so that is why Java installation is a prerequisite on your system in order to run JMeter. And then we have to set up the environment variables in order to run JMeter correctly. So that I'm going to show how to do that. And then we are going to see how to download JMeter. Okay, what is the latest version of JMeter? And how can you download the previous versions as well. So those all things we'll see. And then once you download, then we are going to see how to install JMeter. Okay, so it is really simple, guys. So that also we are going to see. And then how to launch JMeter on Windows platform. So you can use JMeter on different operating systems. So I'll show you how to launch JMeter on Windows. Now, before we start JMeter in details, you need to have some knowledge, okay, about requests, about responses. So here or other terminologies like cookie, cache, user session. So these things are really required from a performance testing point of view. So I'm going to give you you know the insights into the browser developer tool. Okay, the browser developer tool. Then what is HTTP HTML request? What are embedded resources? What is a transaction or user action? Then we're going to see what is a cookie, what is a cache, and then user session. Okay, next, the most frequently used protocol, guys, or most of the applications which you will do the performance testing for will be an web application. Okay, so over where the HTTP or HTTPS protocol will be used. So we need to understand the details about HTTP, HTTPS protocol, which will help you in your test script development, in debugging your test scripts. Okay, so I'll explain you about the details of HTTPS protocol, request, response, headers, what are the different types of request methods, what are the different status codes written by the server. So all those things we are going to see that. Any queries anyone till now? I'll take a pause here. Any queries anyone? So I'll take it as a no. So then coming to JMeter scripting. So now we have downloaded JMeter, we have installed JMeter, we have understood how to launch JMeter. So our setup is completed, right? And we have understood about the request, response, and all. So we are ready for test script development. So first of all, I'll tell you about 12 major elements or components of JMeter. What is their significance? How to use them? Okay. Then one of the element is known as HTTPS test script recorder in JMeter. So we are going to see about it, its attributes, its significance, what are the best practices as far as the settings is concerned. Next, in one more thing, guys, whichever topic I'm covering, okay, during the training, I'll be covering the interview questions around those as well. Okay, for each topic, whatever I'm covering in every session, whatever will be the interview questions for those topics, I'll be covering in these sessions. Okay, so proxy server and JMeter setup to record the test script. So most of the times, there is a question like why proxy server setup is required, or how do you do the setup for recording your script. So I'm going to explain in detail why this proxy server setup is required. Okay, and then how you can do the recording from different browsers. That demonstration also I'll show. And so when we are recording, okay, when we are recording, sometimes what happens is some irrelevant requests, okay, get captured. So how can we filter those irrelevant requests? So what happens is, guys, we actually record the scripts, right? So whatever user flow, whatever business flow is given to you, you basically record that, and then we enhance that script. Only recording is not sufficient. If only recording would be sufficient, everyone would become a performance tester. Okay, so once we have recorded the user flow, we have recorded the business flow, then we have to do the necessary customization, necessary enhancements and all. So during this process we have to do a lot of activities. Okay, so this filtering of irrelevant requests. So whenever you record, you capture your requests generated in the application. So along with those requests, some other irrelevant requests also get captured. So how to filter them, guys? And then JMeter certificate. So there is a JMeter root certificate. What is the significance of that? Okay, that I'll explain. Uh, and what is the validity of the root certificate? Once it is expired, how to regenerate, and all those things I'm going to explain. What are the best practices for JMeter recording? Okay, what are the best practices for JMeter recording? Then walkthrough of JMeter directory. So when we download JMeter, there will be different folders, different files inside JMeter. So I'll be explaining you what is the significance of different files, different folders inside the JMeter directory. Then we have the JMeter properties. Okay, so there are different properties file like JMeter properties, user properties, report generator properties, and all. So I'm going to explain you what all are the what are those properties files. So I'll explain you about those properties files. Then we have one concept called as plugins. Okay, plugins. So in JMeter also we have plugins. So there is one element called plugin manager. So I'll explain you what is this plugin manager, then how to install plugins, how to uninstall plugins. First of all, why plugins are required, that we need to know. Okay, so those are things we are going to look into. Any queries anyone till now? Anything, guys? Any queries on the course curriculum till now?
I have one query here. For the JMeter scripting, right, should I need any programming background? I am okay with shell scripting in Python. Besides that, should I need to have any Java background to manage this JMeter part?
So if I understood your question, so are you trying to ask if there is any scripting knowledge required?
Exactly. Some programming knowledge is required, like Java,
No.
something.
So in order to develop these scripts initially, okay, means if your application is not complex, okay, whatever scenarios you have got that is not complex, you do not need any programming language. But yes, if, if you want to do the test script development for some complex applications, or if you want to achieve some complex functionalities, then you can go for any scripting language like Java, Groovy, Bin Shell, and I'm anyways going to cover Groovy as part of this training. So, but initially you do not need scripting language. Okay. Any other queries? Okay, so I'll continue.
Yeah, actually, I have one query.
Yeah.
We have don't any knowledge in JavaScripting. Then we have to how to record JMeter scripts in future. If anything task is there.
Sorry, can you please come again?
So actually, I have don't have any knowledge in JavaScript, right? So
Okay.
if how can record we have task for JMeter in scripting part.
That is what I told you.
Hmm.
This training which I'm going to cover, I'll
Okay.
show means without Java knowledge, also you can develop scripts.
Okay.
You don't need Java programming knowledge, okay, for
Okay.
developing scripts. So,
Okay.
but yes, as I mentioned, in case it is a complex application where you
Okay.
have to basically do achieve some complex functionality, in that case you
Okay.
might want to use Java or Groovy or
Yeah.
Winshell, but that is used in very rare cases. To
Okay.
record scripts,
Hmm.
to develop
Hmm.
scripts, to
Hmm.
customize scripts, to enhance
Hmm.
scripts, you don't need
Hmm.
Java
Okay. And
knowledge. Okay, Java
yeah,
programming. Yeah,
yeah, I got. And I have one more query. In this
yeah,
script, we have do real time any application, real time application.
yes, yes. We'll be using real-time applications.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other queries? Ask many. Please ask as many queries as possible, guys. Please clarify your doubts. Okay. I think someone else was asking something. You can
Hello.
unmute. Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask, like, JMeter integration with the Selenium, is that also part of this course?
No, JMeter integration with Selenium is not part of this course.
Okay. Okay.
They mentioned Dynatrace also included. So what are we going to do with Dynatrace? JMeter with Dynatrace?
Yeah, yeah. So that topic we are going to cover below in the course curriculum. So I'll cover that there. Okay. So till now, whatever topics I have covered, any queries, anyone? Nine address part I'll cover there. Okay, I'll come there. Okay, I'll answer your question there.
Right, Naveen.
Yeah, please tell me.
I just want to know, are you going to explain about workload modeling?
Yes. So that is also there as part of this training.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other queries, anyone? Okay. So next one, guys. So I told you like we are going to record, the user flows, the business flows, but we need to understand, right? To like which all scenarios will be covered as part of performance testing, because each and every scenario will not be in scope of performance testing. Please, understand that. Okay. So if someone tells you that in the application they give you for performance testing, there could be n number of functionalities, but all those n number of functionalities will not be in scope of performance testing. Now, how you will be able to identify that which all scenarios should be part of performance testing, that I'll explain. And as part of that, we'll do one activity called as transition flow documentation, which is really helpful for the performance testing team as well as the customer stakeholders, the project stakeholders. So that also we are going to do. Next, end-to-end scenario. So end-to-end user flow. Okay, how to do the recording, how to generate your test script in JMeter. So I'll cover again, like how to do it manually, how to use the inbuilt templates in JMeter, all those things I'll show you. And once you have recorded the scripts, we are going to enhance them. We are going to customize them. Again, bear in mind, guys, for enhancing, for customizing also, in most of the cases, we will not require programming knowledge. Please understand that. Okay. So we are going to do that. Next, for this enhancement, for this scripting, for this script development, what are the best practices which you should follow? Okay, so those I'm going to cover. Then comes very important topic, guys. You means whenever, if anyone has attended any performance testing interviews, or if you have gone through any topics on the internet, then you must have heard about two terms: correlation and parameterization. They are very important in performance testing. Okay, so any tool you take, you have to do both of them. So what is correlation? I will explain it in a very clear way, guys. So if you get any questions related to that, you should be able to answer them in the interviews. So correlation and parameterization. So understanding about them, why they are required basically. And then for correlation, we use basically regular expressions. So regular expression in JMeter, what is that? And there is one element known as regular expression extractor. So that particular element also you are going to see in details. As part of correlation, we will see some, real-time use cases. How can you effectively do the correlation, guys? Because there can be so many use cases which you might get for correlation. Okay, so understanding only one use case is not going to be sufficient. I'll be covering different examples, different use cases. Then comes CSV dataset config. So this is as part of parameterization, guys. So in the item number 20, I told, right, correlation and parameterization. So the regular expression extractor will be related to correlation. Then we have CSV dataset config, which is related to parameterization. Now for correlation, there are other elements also. But because we are slowly understanding JMeter, I do not want to overload you with so much of, information. We'll first learn, we'll first master them. Okay. And then we will go to the other correlation, elements, means using which other elements we can do the correlation. We'll go to them later. So below when I go through the course curriculum, you'll get to know that. So initially we will have to understand, we will get to know how can I develop a script, right? Confidently. Okay. Then we will see the other items, guys. So CSV dataset config is for your parameterization. Why parameterization is required, that I would have already explained. And then I'll explain the usage of this element, how to set up your test data. So remember, guys, parameterization is basically used for your test data. Okay, so we'll see how to use CSV dataset config. There is another element known as random CSV dataset config. That also I'm going to explain you. Next, you must have heard about authorization tokens, right? People who are authorized, they can only access a particular resource on an application. Now, if you get such applications for your performance testing, how are you going to do that? So we are going to see how to handle the authorization tokens. Okay. Then comes very important, guys. People ask me a lot of the times, like, before I come to this point, are you going to cover APIs? Are you going to cover web services? Yes. Web services test design is also part of this training, guys. So we'll see web application and we will see web services as well. So the different types of request methods, right? Whatever we saw. So those also I'm going to show you how to basically develop these scripts for web services as well. Understood, everyone? And then we have the next top. I'll please give me a moment. I'll come to the queries. Okay, let me cover few other items. Then we have, the scope of JMeter elements and variables. So whatever JMeter elements we have, whatever JMeter variables we have, they have some definite scope inside a test script. I'll request you to please go on mute. So whatever JMeter elements we have, whatever JMeter variables we have, they will have a definite scope. Okay, so I'll explain you what is the scope of JMeter elements and what is the scope of JMeter variables. Next, I'm going to explain about local and global variables inside JMeter, and also relative and absolute path setup inside JMeter. Okay, I'll take a pause here, guys. Any queries, anyone?
How about the report generation? Once we do performance test, right? We would need to generate some reports, all right?
Yeah,
So
so
that is
yeah, so that is also covered, but right now I have only covered the topics for test script. I have only covered the topics for test script development. So once I come to test execution and reporting, you will get your answer basically.
okay. Yeah.
Any other queries, anyone?
As part of this training, right? As you mentioned, we are going to touch base only on the Groovy, right? Not on the Java part.
Only Groovy. Only Groovy scripting is
Okay.
part of this training.
Okay. Fine.
Any other queries, anyone? So on test script development, any queries? The topics.
Uh, for doing correlation, there are elements like regular expression in JMeter. One more like XPath extractor. Are you going to cover that? JSON extractor.
Yes, so I told that I think I covered that in correlation we have other elements also using which we can do correlation, but that will be covered in a at a later point of time during the training. So initially we are only going to cover regular expression extractor because I do not want to load too much of information in the beginning itself. So people will get scared, right? So
Yeah.
instead of
Okay.
that, we'll go gradually. Okay, but yes, that is covered. Any other queries? Okay, so as I told, BlazeMeter is also included as part of this training. So I'll give the introduction to BlazeMeter. Now, why we are doing JMeter training, right? So from where does BlazeMeter come into picture? So that I'm going to explain. Okay, and then I'll also tell you how you can develop your scripts using BlazeMeter, guys. Okay, then I'm going to also discuss or explain you or give the introduction to you about microservices, Kubernetes, Dockers, because that is the demand nowadays, guys. You go anywhere, most of the projects they have the microservices architecture, and when people hear about microservices, they get scared. So I'm also going to cover that, so I'll tell you about microservices, Kubernetes, Dockers, and then we are also going to see how you should do the test script development for microservices. Okay. Then comes JMeter test execution. So by now we have understood different aspects for test script development. So test script development using JMeter, enhancement and customization of those test scripts, then test script development with BlazeMeter, test script development for microservices. Okay, then we go to the JMeter test execution. So before execution, guys, one thing which you need is workload model. I think there was a question, right, whether we are going to cover that or not. Yes, that is very much covered. Without workload model, there is no performance test execution, right? Or there is no performance testing basically. So there is no performance testing basically. So we are going to cover workload model design, think time, and pacing. Okay. Then guys, we are going to see how to execute the tests in JMeter non-GUI mode. Okay, so here I am introducing one more term, that is non-GUI. So definitely before that, whatever we have done, that we would have done in the GUI mode, guys. So there are different modes in JMeter that I'm going to explain. Okay, what are the different modes in JMeter, how to work with them. Okay, so those will be covered. So test execution in non-GUI mode, and what are the best practices which you should follow for your execution. Along with that, there is another important concept about the Java heap size setting, so that I'll show how to do that. Then we have a in as part of the non-GUI execution, or as part of the non-GUI mode, we have one element or section called as summarizer, the test summarizer. So we are going to understand what is a test summarizer, what are the different attributes of the test summarizer, and how to decrease the or increase the summarizer time, okay, or basically modifying the summarizer time. So now these things would be bouncing, or would be going on top of the head for few people. But don't worry guys, once we go into the training and once we cover each and every topic, these will be like cakewalk for you. Okay, then how to stop a test in non-GUI mode, how to stop a running test in non-GUI mode, okay, those we are going to see. Then you see test execution in GUI mode, okay, that also how to do that. But ideally that is not recommended, but there is a feature. And then someone was asking about reporting, right? So you see in JMeter, we have a facility or a feature to generate HTML report that we are going to see how to generate HTML report in non-GUI mode, how to generate HTML report in GUI mode. And then what is the importance of the JTL file? So the JMeter test log, okay, file that I'm going to explain. And then the HTML report which we generated, how to understand that HTML report and how to analyze your JMeter HTML report. Which all are the key areas which you need to look into in that report. And in the HTML report, the time is basically the response time values are displayed in milliseconds. So how you can change those values to seconds, how you can change the granularity in the report. Okay, those are things we are going to see. Next important topic is the JMeter functions. Okay, so these are some advanced topics, guys. Okay, so what is a JMeter function we are going to see. Then one of the I'll be covering different functions as part of this, and one very important function is p function. So that is why I have called it out over here as well, because this function will help you in parameterizing your tests from the CLI mode. Okay, so those I'm going to show you how to parameterize your parameters using p function, and why you should use this basically, and how can you pass parameters from your command line, okay, during the non-GUI execution. So non-GUI mode is basically your command line mode, guys. Okay, the CLI interface, okay, command line interface. Next, very important topic is the distributed load testing. So you all must have heard about master and slave in JMeter. Okay, whoever is aware of JMeter or have heard about JMeter. So there is a concept known as master and slave in JMeter. So that we will see. So in details, guys. Along with demonstration, I'm going to show you how you can do distributed testing in JMeter, why is it required in the first place itself, or when it is required in the first place itself. Those are things we'll see. And then test execution and reporting, how you should do your test execution, how you should do your test reporting, and what are the different checklists. Okay, what are the different checklists which you should follow to do your test execution and to do your test reporting. Then I'm going to cover one very important topic, that is the test execution with bandwidth throttling. Okay, different bandwidth we are going to do the test. Many people are not aware of this concept, guys, whether with JMeter bandwidth throttling tests are possible or not. But yes, it is possible, and I'm going to show that to you. Any queries, anyone on JMeter execution, guys? The topics under JMeter execution. Any queries?
One query. That 40th row, right? You mentioned about p function. So what is it?
Yeah.
Something to do with some Java related stuff, or how is it?
No, it is not Java related stuff. These are some features inside JMeter.
This.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. It's not so complex, right? It's easy to understand because I'm a
Very,
beginner
as I
here.
told you, gradually when you will move into these topics, you will be, clearly able to understand.
Okay.
Yeah. Any queries, guys? Please ask. don't have one pinch of doubt also in your mind. Okay, coming to the next topics, guys. So now there were some questions, right? Like we can do correlation using some other elements also. Similarly, as I told, there are 12 major elements in JMeter, or 12 categories. Under those 12 categories, again, we have so many different elements. Okay, so now we are going to see the other elements in details, because now up to now you would have a very good understanding about JMeter. You would be in a very confident position to develop your scripts, to execute your scripts, to do the workload model, all those things. So now we will go and see about other elements. Now here I have mentioned what is a test plan in JMeter, but I would have already covered this by now, guys, okay, in the beginning itself. So then what is non-test element? Then thread group. Thread group is one of the major element. Okay, so I'm going to explain you. So previously I would have explained you about one thread group only. Now here I'll explain you about other thread groups. Understood? What are the other thread groups? How you can use them? Next, controller is another major element. So I'm going to explain you about all the different controllers or logic controllers available in JMeter. Next, sampler is another component or major element. So we are going to discuss about different sampler elements of JMeter and how to use them. Then we are going to see about the config elements. So all these, whatever I'm one topic I'm telling, these all are the major elements inside JMeter. Okay, so config elements or configuration actually. Okay, but you will see config elements inside JMeter, so that is configuration elements. So what are the different configuration elements and what is their usage? But few of the configuration elements we would have already used by now for our test script development. Understood? So other elements, what are they? That we will discuss here. Then the assertion elements, and by now during the test script development, similarly we would have already covered assertion, but other elements of assertion we will, sub elements of assertion we will cover. Similarly, timer elements. Okay, what is their significance? So pacing and think time, how you can achieve with timer. Okay, so that we are going to discuss. Then the listener elements. So listener is again a major component in JMeter. What are the different types of listeners? We are going to see. Then comes preprocessor and post-processor. They are again two major elements. So we are going to see the different types of preprocessor and post-processor inside JMeter. Am I clear, all of you? Any queries, anyone? Okay. Then comes Groovy scripting. Okay. So yeah, so I'll give you the introduction to Groovy. And Groovy is implemented in one of the element inside JMeter that is known as JSR 223, guys. Okay, so what is this JSR 223? Why it is called as JSR 223? That I'm going to explain. Then we are going to see about Groovy scripting. So we'll see like comments, print, variables in Groovy, the operators in Groovy, the Groovy variables, and then some real life examples how you can use Groovy scripting inside JMeter to achieve some of your requirements, guys. But again, I'll just reiterate here, Groovy scripting will not be required in each and every script. It will not be required in most of the cases, guys. Only when you have some complex requirement to achieve. Okay, then in that case you might need Groovy. Otherwise, you will be able to complete your test script development with the core features or functionalities available inside JMeter itself, for which you don't need Groovy scripting. So don't get scared by the term Groovy scripting. And the way I'm going to explain you, you will be very much comfortable with Groovy, guys. Okay. Next comes Dynatrace integration. So I'm going to introduce you to Dynatrace. Okay. and how you can integrate JMeter with Dynatrace. So how you can integrate with JMeter with Dynatrace so that whenever you are doing any test execution, the requests which will go from JMeter, or basically when you are going to put your load on the application, how are you going to monitor your tests using Dynatrace, or how you are going to analyze your tests using Dynatrace, how you can come up with very good observations. Okay, how can you find out the bottlenecks with the help of Dynatrace? So that I'll explain you over here. Next, InfluxDB and Grafana integration. Okay, so first of all, I'll introduce you to InfluxDB and Grafana, and then I'll explain why the integration is required in the first place itself, because we already have JMeter, right? But again, I'm telling that I want to integrate with InfluxDB and Grafana. So why that is required? After you have understood why that is required, I'll explain you how you need to do that. Okay, and I'll show it with InfluxDB 2.0 also, which is latest, and Grafana. Okay, then comes Jenkins, guys. So introduction to Jenkins, and over here I'll also explain you about versioning control, CI/CD, right? So this will be about DevOps, guys. How you can achieve, performance testing in a DevOps project or wherever DevOps is implemented. So basically, here we'll be discussing about Jenkins and how you can integrate your JMeter with Jenkins. Okay. I know that this course curriculum would, we are covering a lot of topics, but at the end, you are going to be a confident performance test engineer, guys. Here, all of you. Any queries, anyone? Any queries, anyone on the
Yeah,
entire list of? Yeah,
yeah. One doubt. So JMeter supports
please.
only Groovy. You don't support any other scripting like Python or Perl, something like this, Linux scripting something.
So JMeter supports JavaScript, Java, Groovy, Bin Shell.
Okay.
Yeah,
So even bin shell meaning like shell scripting only, right?
yeah. So Bin Shell will not be covered as part of this training. So you can achieve the same thing using Bin Shell. You can achieve the same thing using Groovy. But Apache Software Foundation recommends Groovy over Bin Shell because it is having higher performance as compared to Bin Shell.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But you can achieve both the things, like you can either use bin shell scripting or you can use Groovy, guys. Okay, not an issue. But Apache Software Foundation recommends Groovy over bin shell, and JMeter is a product of Apache Software Foundation.
But the Groovy scripting coverage, right? It's like I see. Somehow I feel it's like very less. Is it suffice for our training for
For
understanding this JMeter?
see the things which I have covered is required for my performance testing. I'm talking about JMeter here, right? My
Okay,
training
okay.
is not on entire Groovy, right? Whatever things are
No, that
required
understand.
for my, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
To understand JMeter, so whatever the Groovy coverage you're doing, right? That is more than suffice.
Yes, yes,
Is
yes,
the
yes.
going to come. Okay.
Yeah,
Hello, Sarvan. Actually, I have one query. A
yeah,
Dynatrace is related to monitoring tool, right?
yeah. Dynatrace is a monitoring tool.
Yeah, which is equal in LoadRunner or JMeter, same, right?
No, no, no. JMeter and LoadRunner are performance testing tools.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Now, uh, Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Datadog, they all are application performance monitoring tools. Means you will put the load on the server. Okay.
okay,
But in
okay,
order to visualize what is happening when you are putting
okay,
that load, right?
okay.
So that
Right.
you have to basically, like for example, just imagine you are
Mm.
injecting a bacteria or a virus to a human being,
Yeah, yeah,
and how your human being is behaving after that bacteria or virus is injected,
mm.
that you will be able to do with Dynatrace. But this
Yeah,
injection part will be done by JMeter. Understood?
yeah, yeah.
And
Understand, understand.
some part of the metrics you will get from JMeter, but more
Mm.
coverage. Okay, more
Mm.
coverage you will be given, means root cause analysis, and for means where actually the issue is happening in each component, whether it is the web server or application server or the database, all those things you will be able to understand from Dynatrace.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So to do this setup, right, should we need to have any VM created from AWS or something?
No, no.
So like we can have a VMware installed on our machine, then we can try this
Yes,
steps like what
yes,
are you showing in as part of
yes,
that.
yes. On your local system, you will be able to do everything.
Uh, Meaning like if I have a laptop on Windows also I can give it a try.
Sorry?
In laptop also, like if I have Windows laptop, so there
Yes,
I
yes,
can install it
yes,
APK, I can get it, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes. Everything I'll cover. Okay.
Okay, so
You don't do any.
you
You
everything,
don't do anything now. Everything will be covered.
okay. So you show everything on the Windows, right? Not on the Linux
Yes, yes.
OS only.
I'll show on Windows. Yeah.
Windows only. Okay.
Yes, yes. Because most of the participants will have a Windows operating system, so the sessions will be held on Windows.
Yeah, because some people work on cloud, right? So most of the cloud it is hosted on Linux servers and all. So just curious to know like whether you will be
So
test-basing on.
JMeter is independent of operating system. Okay,
Oh, I
it
see.
will work on
Okay,
Windows, it will work on Linux, it will work on Mac. So not an issue at all.
fine.
Yeah.
And
Any other
this
queries,
overall,
anyone?
all
Yeah.
overall contents, right? It will take at least 30 hours of coverage. So what is the time
No, no,
duration?
not 90 hours. We'll be covering them in 45 to 50 hours.
So it will take one and a half months CCB, right?
2 months, 2 months. The
Two
sessions will
months.
be held on, yeah, 2 months. The sessions will be held on weekdays. Okay.
Okay. So
So, yeah,
weekdays means like daily 1 hour something
Mon-
like that.
yes, so it will be daily 1 hour, Monday to
Uh,
Friday, 9
uh-huh.
p.m. to 10 p.m. IST.
IST. Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the session, you provide us the recorded video session rather than documents.
Yeah. So every day the sessions will be recorded and the recorded video will be available on the very next day to all of you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Any other queries, anyone?
So when are you planning to start this batch?
Sorry?
When is this batch planned to start?
The batch has started today. So today is the demo. From tomorrow we have day one.
Oh, okay. So okay.
Yeah, yeah. Any other queries, anyone? This entire course content is present in this link. It was also sent in the WhatsApp group. So you can all go through the link, to get the course curriculum. So let us start with our topic, guys. Okay. Any other queries, anyone, before I start? Okay. So I'm going to introduce you to some of the different types of testing, guys. Okay. I'll give you some pointers. I'll not directly tell you, what are they. I'll give you some pointers. Using those pointers, you have to identify which type of testing it is. Let's see. Okay. So first one, guys, whenever, on the day when, the exam results are published, may it be colleges, may it be, matriculation boards, CBSE, ICSE, state boards, right? And whoever is in India, they are very much acquainted with Tatkal ticket booking, right? So Indian Railways, whenever you have any emergency or if you need any tickets in emergency, you have to book a Tatkal ticket. If there is any festive sale on any e-commerce application, if there is any festive sale on any e-commerce application. Okay, next, few pointers. The infrastructure, whatever I have built for my application, is that going to work in production or not? Okay. If there is any natural calamity, if there is any earthquake tomorrow, how is my data center operations going to work? Or how am I going to continue my the application being available to my customer, right? Okay. Can my application be hacked? Is there any security, the data security breach in my application? Is there any malware introduced into my application? Okay. The application which I am testing or the application which I am developing, is it compatible with different browsers? Or the application which I am developing, the application which I am testing, can it be used or can it be accessed by differently abled persons? I hope you all know this, guys. There are some countries where there is regulation that, because everyone has the right to use computers. So the applications which are developed, they should be accessible by differently abled persons also. There are regulations in some countries, like US, UK and all. Okay. So now guys, I have given you 4 different boxes. Okay. Now when you read about these points, when you read these points, you would be getting directed to some testing types. So now my question is, guys, are all of them belonging to any particular category, or any particular testing will cover all these points, guys? Anyone who wants to add, you can unmute yourself and give some pointers.
Yeah, first one, that's called ticket booking, e-commerce
Yeah, right.
application testing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. First
the
one is
first box,
related. Yeah,
first one is related to
performance testing.
Testing.
performance testing. Perfect. The left bottom one, anyone?
Fourth one is related to accessibility testing, ADA testing.
Perfect. Accessibility. Glad. I'm really glad to hear the answer. But along with that, there is another type of testing also in that box. Can you answer that? Will the application be compatible with different browsers?
Browser
Cross
compatible.
browser testing.
Browser compatibility testing. Great. Okay. Remaining 2 boxes, guys, diagonally.
The
The
left down
second
is
one is security
recovery.
Security
testing.
testing.
Perfect. The second one is security. On the right side, that is security testing. Okay. One more box left.
Disaster recovery testing or something like that. And
Yeah. So, okay, you are partially correct. So disaster recovery testing is one kind of testing or one category of testing. Okay. So, guys, all these testing terms or all these testing types which you mentioned, they belong to one category of test. What is it? Non-functional test. Right, guys? All these testing types which you mentioned, they are non-functional testing. So the different types of non-functional testing are, as you rightly mentioned, performance testing. The second one which you all means, which one of our trainee mentioned about disaster recovery, it is more about site reliability, or sometimes it is also known as operational readiness, or it is also known as operational acceptance, chaos engineering, right? You all would have heard about these terms. Then security testing, as you rightly mentioned, browser compatibility testing, and accessibility testing. So all these types of testing belong to non-functional testing, guys. Okay. So if someone tells that I'm a non-functional test engineer, he or she might be, aware of 2 or 3 types of testing among these categories, or one type of testing also, maybe not an issue, but they do not do functional testing. So all these testing, whatever you do, your objective is not to verify the functionality, rather you have different objectives for with each type of testing. Now we are going to cover JMeter as part of this training. So our focus will be on performance testing, guys. Okay, our focus will be on performance testing. But yes,
One query here.
yeah,
This browser compatibility testing that also would be part of functional testing, right? So we came under
no, I
non-functional testing.
don't. No,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
in browser compatibility testing, are you checking whether I'm able to make a payment, like let's say any user flow, or you are basically checking the alignment, like for example the how the application is looking like on this browser and that browser. The more the focus, because see, if the functionality is working on one browser, functionality means the objective of that feature. Suppose I'm going to purchase any product on an e-commerce application, so purchasing the product is a functionality. But if all my images are visible clearly or they are overlapped and all those things, that is part of browser compatibility. Am I clear? Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah, got it.
Okay, so the browser compatibility is not part of non-functional testing actually. Okay, so our focus will be on performance testing. So due to shortage of time, we'll be able to cover this much today. We'll resume tomorrow, guys. So I hope you all enjoyed the demo session today. So thank you all for joining the demo session on the training JMeter Beginner to Master with Groovy, Dynatrace, Kubernetes, Docker, InfluxDB, Grafana, Jenkins, and BlazeMeter. In case you have any queries, please post your query in the group. Thank you all for joining. Bye for now.
Thanks, Chandra. Thank you.
Thanks, Chandra.
Yeah, thank you.